What happens when a democracy elects a convicted felon to be president of the United States is you get lawlessness. You have a bunch of cowardice Republicans and several cowardice Democrats who have ceded their power to an authoritarian who is, by all accounts, babysat by a Nazi named Elon Musk. And now they are disobeying the judiciary. This is the final guardrail, and they do not give an F about it. Please play this clip.
Promised the American people. The President Trump has made a promise to American people. We're going to make this country safe again. I wake up every morning loving my job because I work for the greatest president in the history of my life, and we're going to make this country safe again. I'm proud to be a part of this administration. We're not stopping. I don't care what the judges think. I don't care what the left thinks. We're coming.
Yeah.
This kind of feigned machismo plays very well in the manosphere. And what the Trump administration has done is they said, okay, let's test the courts by making it about immigrants, Venezuelan immigrants with tattoos, and we can say they're drug addicts and rapists and all of these things. Well, we don't know what they are. Nobody knows what they are because they were denied due process.
What is so appalling about this is he knows, Tom Homan knows that due process has been denied and a judge has ordered, if your plane is in the air, turn it around. You cannot invoke the Alien Enemies Act right now because you don't have grounds. At this point, he doesn't care. That's what's called constitutional crisis. If this were any other person in any other administration, contempt of court would be filed, and these people would be punished by the judiciary. But we have complete lawlessness from top to the bottom, from the convicted felon all the way down to the Department of Justice.
And I just think that, the media and everybody we've been talking about constitutional crisis for months, and then there is one here, and it's like, oh, another constitutional crisis. So everybody's so numbed out by it because he does all of these serious things. We call it what it is. He has a huge right-wing media echo chamber that just absorbs all of this stuff. You have Fox News, which, by the way, Rupert Murdoch has made billions of dollars off of this country and doesn't have the decency when he leaves this earth, which is no spring chicken. This is what he wants his imprint to be. When I think about Jeff Bezos, who has made billions of dollars off of this country, and he doesn't want his newspaper, the Washington Post, to talk about anything critical of him. And they're all forcing this free market idea. And what this is forced markets. These billionaires are forcing the market to be the way they want it to be. These aren't true free markets. Elon Musk is subsidized. You have all these crackheads like Tom Homan, who's a sociopath, and of course he knows. The point is, the rules don't apply to us.
Right.
That's the point. The point is they know that they have this manosphere base and a lot of white women that were raised by misogynists that like this. They like that cruelty that, oh, yeah, they're going to beat up on these Venezuelans and they're going to beat up on these immigrants. And they love it. Next up, we have Trump in a video saying crazy shit. Play it.
There's been some criticism that the Alien Enemies Act has only been invoked 3 other times. They were all during times of war. Do you feel that you're using it appropriately right now?
Well, this is a time of war because Biden allowed millions of people, many of them.
Shut up. This is not the time of war. I'm so sick of hearing about the immigrants that Biden left in, that they're criminals and gang members. They're people. We don't know how many criminals and gang members there are. It is so infuriating. And what he's saying is, I can break the law. I can do what I want because there's 3 branches of government, but Congress has already abdicated to me. I get to do whatever the fuck I want. And now I'm going to make sure the Supreme Court is tested. Are you going to make me follow the law? Because the lower court judges are making them follow the law. This is absolutely disgusting. It's offensive, and every American should be terrified.
And this is the psychological language that autocrats use.
That's right.
We are in a time of war, and it is a war against autocracy. It is a war against oligarchy, but they project it and they reframe it, and they used the dumbed down language to the right-wing media echo chamber, and they prey on their racist biases and their sexist biases so that they're able to feed them this. And they project what really is happening, and they label it on the other party. There is deep underlying psychological things here that when you study dictatorships and you study autocracies, these things happen very, very slowly, and then all of a sudden they happen all at once. And that language that he's using is intentional. We are in a state of war, and we have been against Russia in the psychological war for over a decade. We are in the middle of exactly what Vladimir Putin has done. He has turned Americans against each other. He has an asset in the Oval Office, and he is now attacking the judiciary. And the question now is what happens after democracy? Because when he's not obeying the judiciary, the next step is the democracy, any guardrails are gone. But this is no surprise because this is exactly the way he has always been. When it was Judge Marchand, he demeaned him, demeaned his family members. This is a man who does not like the rule of law. And I guess tens of millions of Americans don't either, which is just mind-boggling. It's absolutely mind-boggling. Next up, we have Caroline Leavitt on ignoring court orders.
On the timeline of the flights, you keep talking about the judge's written order, which hit the docket Saturday night at about 7:26 p.m. But he issued a verbal order before that at about 6:45 and 6:48 p.m. based on the court hearing. A verbal order from the bench. Does the White House feel the need to comply with a verbal order from this judge?
Again, as I said, all of the planes subject to the written order of this judge departed U.S. soil, U.S. territory before the judge's written order.
But what about the verbal order, which of course carries the same legal weight as a written order, and said for the planes to turn around if they were
Well,
in the air?
there's actually questions about whether a verbal order carries the same weight as a legal order, as a written order, and our lawyers are determined to ask and answer those questions in court. Sean.
Hey,
Okay, let me just clear that up for you, Caroline. When a judge makes an order, it starts right then, unless the judge says it doesn't take effect. The judge said, turn the planes around if they're in the air. That is not ambiguous. You do not have to wait on a written order. That is a lie. She knows it's a lie. The Justice Department knows it's a lie because Donald Trump wants to do whatever the fuck he wants to do, regardless of what the law is. And I don't know why, with all of his past press secretaries, I hate her the most. I just find her so offensive because she sits up there and she just lies with reckless abandon. This whole thing is disgusting.
Well, I think everybody surrounding him lies. They are intentionally disobeying, and they're intentionally flexing about disobeying because of this feigned masculinity, because of this feigned machismo, because you have now the Joe Rogans of the world and all of these other right-wing podcasters that bring on fringe scientists and fringe political ideologues. And I just want to say to the Joe Rogans of the world, is this your imprint? Is this what you have? You have all of this success. Is this where you want to be? Like, think about Rush Limbaugh when he died. Nobody gives a shit other than he was just a blowhard hate monger. Jeff Bezos, you've made billions of dollars off of this country. Is this your imprint? This is what you want to side with. Ruining what was a really good country, trying to constantly improve and better itself. Is this what you want? This is what you have, all of the money in the world. And this is how you want to leave it. It's mind-boggling. Okay, before we dive into this further, please support our show by supporting our sponsors. All of you have to know that Pumps and I always have to get dolled up for this podcast, and we absolutely love Quince. It is our go-to for luxury essentials at affordable prices.
My favorite thing from Quince coming with spring and summer are the washable silk tops and dresses. They're wash and wear. The fabric holds up like iron. It's beautiful. It's easy to pack for trips. I cannot recommend it more highly.
And I always love, and I can personally endorse, their 100% Mongolian cashmere sweaters. They start at $50. Listener, give yourself the luxury you deserve with Quince. Go to quince.com/IHIP news for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. That's QUINCE.com/IHIP news to get free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/IHIP news. Next up, we have a photograph. Please put up the slide, Seth. Judge Boasberg pressed the DOJ lawyer on what the government could have done with a ruling they believe to be unlawful, appeal, or seek to modify it. Isn't then the better course to return the planes to the United States and figure out what to do than say, we don't care, we'll do what we want? And the reason this is working right now is because there has been a psychological manipulation to Trump's base that any immigrant that's over here that has melanin in their skin is a rapist, a drug addict, right, all of these things. And the problem is you don't know who's on those planes. You don't know what their status was. And that's why we're different than other countries, or that's why we were different than other countries. So denying due process to these people is uniquely anti-American. And this is uniquely Trumpist.
Well, it's the asylum versus asylum in terms of some of these people came in because they face death, incarceration for non-issues, those kind of things in their own country. So they are granted asylum. Now, Trump thinks they come from insane asylums, but this is the problem. We don't know. And Trump
supporters don't care, Pumps.
I know, but they should care.
I know. That is sailed down the river. I mean, you have many, many, many MAGA people in your life. And you know, when it comes to immigrants and people with melanin in their skin, they don't. They value patriarchal white supremacist structures and defend them as such with impunity all the time. We know this because we live in a red state. They don't care. So for those of us that remain that do care, this is the moment where the judiciary has been completely usurped by the executive branch. This is the moment that we have become a dictatorship. And when the autopsy is done on this, everybody in this country is going to have culpability to what parts of the patriarchy they helped either overtly or covertly support. And it is a time in history, much like in the inception of World War II, that this is as serious as it gets.
Absolutely. Because here's what's happening. And I've said this before, but how does this judge enforce the order? They can do contempt, but the U.S. Marshals are the one that carry it out. What are they going to do? What's the judge going to do to enforce this order? We know Congress has already said, we don't give a fuck, Trump, you be the king. Now, is the Supreme Court, with their own power being usurped by Trump, are they going to side with Trump? Or are they just going to go straight down the line with immunity? I mean, we're depending on the handmaid to save democracy, and that's a scary place to be.
Well, and I'm sorry, but the Supreme Court put it here.
That's right. They did.
They could have, that investigation with Jack Smith and all of that should have gone. And then they gave him the immunity ruling, and their hands are as bloody as all get out in this. So, I mean, I hope that maybe Amy Coney Barrett does the right thing, but also this is a person who denied women all over the country the right to autonomy over their bodies. And so, then you have 4 of them that are just as drunk as all get out on Trump Kool-Aid. And then you have John Roberts, who cannot reign in that court, who appears to be compromised. We saw the hoodwink at the joint session of Congress where Trump said, thank you, I'll never forget it, knowing like, hey, it's because of you that I made it here. And so this is just corruption from top to bottom. And you have millions, tens of millions of MAGA people who do not care, nor do they care about marginalized people. And that is the fact. That is the fact of the matter. They don't care. They like the cruelty of chaining people up, putting them on planes, telling judges to go fuck themselves. They like it. It gets them hard. They like it a lot. All right. We're trying to get to 1 million subs. Please subscribe to our show and we'll see you later.